All right, hello and welcome everyone. So today's video should hopefully be pretty interesting because today we are going to talk about drops. More specifically, how disruption drop distribution sucks. So disruption is the newest game mode that has been expanded out of its one node it previously had on Jupiter. And there are now 7 nodes, each with their own unique drops. With that, I thought it would be really interesting to talk about the drops as they stand right now and why they suck and how they should be better. Because I don't think they are that far away from being good. Of course, this is just drop changes, so it should be fairly easy to do and make it reasonable to do all of these missions. For that, let's look at all the drops in all of these missions. These are the 7 missions and their drops. Some of them have been simplified a bit to be easier to read, but this is what we've got. The only mission here that is a little bit longer is Jupiter, which also has the Universal Medallion, and then 3 other mods at the bottom there. But otherwise, you can see every single thing that drops here and all the fixins. So the major thing that I want to talk about is in terms of relic farming. Relic farming is, of course, a thing that everyone is going to do to get like their prime weapons and their prime warframes and all of that kind of stuff. So the major note that I want to make here before we talk about how to fix these drop tables is that if you look closely at Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Sedna, and Lua, you will notice that they all have the exact same fucking relic drops. A is Lith. It's all the same exact identical ones, except for weirdly, Mars has L1 in its drop table twice. B is Meso, all identical. And C is Neo, all identical. These missions vary in level and faction, and one of them is a Dark Sector mission. So why do they all have the exact same relics? Now, before that, let's talk about the small differences between each of these. Mars is exactly the same relics that you'd imagine, but on the C rotation, you have the chance to get Morphix, Neurodes, or Gallium. Okay, sure, it's a lower level mission. Fine and dandy. On Jupiter, you have the unique drops that mission came with, which is the 3 unique mods per rotation, and then some Hexanon is in there. Okay, sure. On Uranus, you have a really raw, just relics drop table, but also a chance to get the Universal Medallion. On Neptune, this mission is weirdly all credits besides the Universal Medallion, and it's really low amounts of credits that you would never realistically ever want to do this mission as opposed to something like the Index, which is a problem with kind of balancing places to get credits and kind of giving more variety to places to do that. And then on Sedna, we have all the exact same relics, but you can get Gauss parts here, which is the only reason to do this mission. And then on Lua, you have the chance to get a Lua lens there and all of the exact same relics. And then on the Kuva Fortress, it is all Kuva, all hilariously low amounts of Kuva that definitely are not worth the time spent to get. I'm not a person that, of course, is very into Rivens or Kuva, but for the people that are into that stuff, this is a exceedingly low amount of Kuva. Should not be this way for those people, for sure. Should definitely be better rates of Kuva from that mission. With that, let's talk about what these missions probably should be and why that is. Starting with Uranus. Uranus has no issues. Uranus is Lith, Meso, Neo. It's in like the middle of the star chart. It's a dark sector, so it has some extra incentives there where you're going to get like extra experience and things of that nature. That mission is literally perfect for being in the center of the star chart. It is what the other ones should be, essentially. Now, let's go on to the bottom of the scale and talk about Mars. Neo Relics dropping on Mars is a little strange, and this mission could easily be given a lot more of a purpose if you do a very simple change. And that very simple change is to make A rotation and B rotation all Lith, and then on C rotation, you make it Mesos. Why would you do this? Why would you have the lower quality, let's say, of relics available in this mission more heavily and take Neos out? Well, the reason is to make it so that this is a better place to get Lith and Meso relics than Uranus. sometimes we need to farm the Lith Relics to get the stuff out of the Lith Relics. So this could very easily be a place to do that. That would be very good and have a high incentive for going there over Uranus if that is what you are trying to accomplish. They could definitely still have Morphix Neuroids and Gallium in here. It is a low-level mission, of course, but that would be a very easy change to make this a mission that is worth doing over Uranus if you are a player that is, of course, capable of doing all of these missions, which I'm going to say most people are. For Jupiter, Jupiter is, of course, the introductory mission to this, but this mission is level 35 to 40 like Sedna and Apollo, and just on the basis of balancing this for like the level of player that's probably going to be able to do it, this should probably at least start at Meso Relics, and this one should probably, in all kind of a realistic sense, go Meso, Neo, Axie, because it is a higher level mission and should probably not be dropping liths. You should probably be incentivized to go to Mars for that. The unique drops that are here definitely should stay. It's absolutely fine to have those unique mods in these drop tables. Makes tons of sense. Wouldn't change a thing with that. Uranus, as we went over, shouldn't receive any changes. Neptune and Kuba Fortress are kind of their own topic, so I'm going to kind of glance over them really quickly. But the balance of the amount of credits you can get per your time invested should definitely be adjusted to be more in line with what a player can accomplish in the index to make this an option between it and the index and less of a clearly worse option that you would never play. But that's balancing between this and the index and not exactly what we're talking about. Kuva Fortress is its whole other thing. Obviously, DE doesn't want to give people like too much Kuva because then they can waste it on their Rivens faster or whatever, I guess. And that's its own whole video to talk about Rivens again. So we'll just ignore that stuff for now. Sedna and Lua. Okay, here's a really huge thing. We're going to talk about Sedna first. Sedna, level 35 to 40, Grenier mission, should for sure not, start at Lith. That is hilarious. However, I don't think this is kind of the hardest mission of the ones available. So Lua should have slightly better drops. Because of that, I think that Sedna should go Meso, Neo, and then Axie Relics. Because it is a higher level mission and it is deserving of that stuff. Also, it probably shouldn't have like the best drop table because Gauss parts are in here. And they take up 30% of rotation C. So most of the time you're only ever going to really be doing this mission for the Gauss parts in all likelihood, because otherwise once you have Gauss, it's going to be a rotation C where 30% of the time you get something useless to you. And that's going to be kind of a feel bad no matter how you look at it. Of course, there is the thought that has gone around quite a few times that if you already have Gauss built and one of each of his blueprints, that you would get his blueprint again and also one of the relics from the drop table because you clearly do not need the blueprint. And that's what probably should happen, but that's also a topic for another day. So these drop tables just need to be slightly adjusted to be a little bit more quality on the higher end and get some Axie Relics in there as a choice for people to get. Now Lua is far and away, I think, the hardest mission because it contains sentience and stuff, and I think that's a fair argument for this to be the harder of the disruption missions. I think it could even go so far as to start 5 levels higher and be a level 40 to 45 mission or what have you in terms of doing that. But to make this mission really different, it should probably be Neo Axie, because then it gives you a reason to take on the higher difficulty of the mission to get the better rewards. And this is a thing that DE just doesn't do, in that choosing a higher difficulty mission usually does not really give you better rewards. But in this case, I think it would be really good to do so because it would give us a reason to do this mission. If they simply change these missions to like balance them for where they are and make it make sense as a progression or as a thing where you look at it and can focus your objective, then pretty much all of these missions are going to have a reason to be played. As it stands right now, the only reasons that you would do any of these missions are Uranus, you are here to farm relics that are available in Disruption. Sedna, you are here to farm Gauss. That's it. The credit mission on Neptune, not worth doing. Kuba Fortress, not worth doing. And then the other ones are not worth doing for a variety of reasons, unless you need the mods from Jupiter, but it's a whole nother discussion to talk about why those mods aren't particularly good. So, at least with only 2 missions, and one of them, once you get Gauss, you stop doing. So there's only one of the 7 missions that is an evergreen, good mission to go back and do, and that's real bad. We could instead have it be, Sedna is a mission you do to get Gauss. Okay, cool. Uranus is a mid-level kind of variety pack of relics and stuff that you're going to get. And if you're kind of just like generally farming and don't need anything specific, you might come here. Mars could be you need lower level relics. You're trying to get liths for like the new Prime Access that just came out. All that stuff, you're trying to get all your lith relics accounted for and done. More focused on the low end. And then Lua could be the high-end focus, where it's like, I really need these axes, and like I really need to go and get that stuff, and also the potential for a Lua lens is also there. Cool, neat. That would be 3 missions that are evergreen and good, as opposed to literally 1. So these missions need to be balanced better in terms of what they drop. Hopefully this video has made a lot of sense for people. I know most people are literally never going to look at the drop tables, but I will have them linked down in the description below. Warning, the official drop table link for Warframe looks really fucking suspicious. It's like N8, K6, E2, like nonsense. Like it's an absolute like nonsense link. I assure you it is the official drop tables that DE put up. But I've linked that down below in the description if you would like to go and see that stuff. And I think it's a really important discussion to have on drop tables being better and more missions that DE releases having value in more specific manners. Because as it stands right now, these drop tables suck, except for the one on Uranus. Uranus is the only one that is worth doing outside of farming Gauss. And having a mission that is perishable is not good for Warframe. Which is it's a whole nother discussion to go into why Warframe parts dropping on missions should probably stop dropping for people that already have the Warframe and then an extra set of his parts so that the mission can have other good drops for those players, etc., etc. A million things to talk about with that, but just as a real baseline discussion, these drops should be fixed. I think that is pretty clear to see the reasons why they should be better. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys agree with my kind of assessment of how the drops should be, or if you have an even like stranger idea, I suppose. I think I was pretty metered in where these missions should lie. But yeah, I will see you guys later.